is My Hero Academia Plus Ultra. Manga, anime, news and more. Plus Ultra.
So hello and welcome to the third episode of the My Hero Academia podcast. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Kendra.
Today we're going to be covering a little bit of news on the new game that's coming out, Hero Academia 1 Justice, and the film. And then we're going to be reviewing episodes of the anime, both 1 and 2, as there is no manga or new anime episode this week. So the news for the game, it's been created by Bandai Namco. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. A few people might have already played bits of it. I know that there's opportunities to play it at the Anime Expo this weekend, and there have been a few others. The game is going to be playable on PS4, Xbox One, PC and Switch. It's going to be released October 26th. In the game, you can play along on a storyline, or you could also just play through one-on-one fights with the characters. You can use special moves, so we know that Endeavour's move, Hell Flame, is included. You can also summon in sidekicks and use the environment you're playing in against the enemy. So the characters that are playing are All Might, Izuku, Bakugo, Shoto Todoroki, Eraserhead, Tsuyu, Kaminari, Yaozuro, Kirishima, Dabi, Jiro, Uraka, Stain, Ida, Shigaraki, Toga, Tokiyami, Endeavour, Gran Torino and Muscular. That's a lot of people.
19 playable characters.
Yeah, that's quite a lot. There might still be more. I mean, we've got until October, so there might be some more reviewed, but that's a good cast.
And now the Hero Academia movie Two Heroes came out on July 5th. So if you're at Anime Expo, you lucky dog, you got to see it. There was some celebrity guests there. The Japanese voice actor for Deku, Daiki Yamashita, as well as Mirai Shida. She voiced Melissa Shield in the movie, and Katsuhisa Namase, the voice of David Shield. And there were some English voice actors there as well. Justin Briner, the voice of Deku, and also Colleen Clinkenbeard, ADR director and the voice of Yarozu. And also she's the voice of Luffy in One Piece, and she's the best. Yay! And they had some cute things where they had Deku and some other people on the food stuff there. And just kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it's coming out in August 3rd in Japan.
Yeah, there's no release dates for anywhere else yet. I've seen really good reviews of the people that have seen it in Expo. I've stayed away from the spoilers.
Same.
Other than, I guess, maybe the minor spoilers that people are shipping Kirishima and Bakugo even more. But the spoilers of the actual plot I've managed to stay away from. But I've seen reviews where people are crying.
I've heard the shippers will be happy. And I've heard, spoiler alert, even though it's literally not a spoiler, that All Might says shit at one point. So that's all I know.
No!
Oh no, the movie's ruined! He also says shit in like the second episode, I think, or the first episode.
He has no values.
He swears in English, it's very funny. But I really hope that May is in the movie somehow, because she is all about gadgets. If she's not in the movie about hero gadgets, it's a crime. But I doubt she's in it. She could just like freak out afterwards, I hope. I just wanted to see her at the end being like, why didn't you invite me? I hope it'll be dubbed.
We can hope.
Plus Ultra.
And now we're at the very first episode of My Hero Academia. It's called Izuku Midoriya Origin. I forgot that it was called Origin. A lot of people have one later. And I'm just like, oh yeah, Midoriya already had his.
I was reading through the manga with this, and I didn't realise that episode 1 and 2 both just cover chapter 1, because chapter 1 is, I think it's like 40 pages long.
Yeah.
And chapter 1 is just called Izuku Midoriya Origins. But I listened to it for the first time on the Funimation website with the dubbed. I really like the dub. I'm not usually a fan, but there's only a few changes from the dubbed and the subbed. The main one is in episode 2, and it's a very weird change. But we'll talk about that when we get to it. Oh.
So the episode starts with a bit of a flashback to Deku as a kid, and he's defending a small kid against Bakugo, who's being a jerk of a bully. And I guess for some reason, Bakugo isn't as bad as I remembered him, but he's also not much better.
I'm quite a Bakugo fan now, so rewatching this I was like, oh, I forgot how awful he was.
Yeah, but I thought I remembered him like picking on Deku a lot more when he was a kid. But I think there's a bit of it in flashbacks. There's some more flashbacks later, probably.
Yeah.
But he's still pretty bad.
I like that a minute in, we literally get to a minute in, and that's when Izuku starts to express his desire to become a hero and how he's so determined. And we also learn straight off the bat that we can't trust him as a narrator.
Oh.
Because first of all, he says after he loses the fight to Bakugo, he says, "That was my first and last setback." No, it wasn't. You have a lot of setbacks, you liar.
Even though you're quirkless, you pretend to be a hero. And we meet his winged friend, who might be kind of important later, and a backwards baseball cap.
And we get the first Star Wars reference.
Yeah.
The Tatooine station. Horikoshi really put all his love into the start of this series.
Yeah, and this is a line I really like. 4 years old, Deku learned that all men are not created equal. And we focus on his little red shoes, and we learn later that's because of the toe thing. And then it does a cool kind of cut with like the red shoes and like stepping on the blue sky with a puddle. There's a lot of sakura blossoms. And we see heroes for the first time. And it's kind of funny that like the first hero we see is Death Arms.
I thought that was strange as well. And even before that, when he says about heroes, when quirks first came into being, we see 3 types of quirk. And 2 of them are elemental ones. So first of all, we see someone wielding fire. Then we see someone wielding ice. And then we see someone who looks like they've got telekinesis and they're levitating a book, but also skimming through and reading really quickly. So when we saw that, I thought, I wonder if Shoto's mum was her family were one of the first lines to get quirks. Because we see that woman creating the ice, her hair's turning white, so I wonder if his family have got a long lineage of having quirks and strong quirks first before other people.
Yeah, and I know the person with fire has like almost like a bird head made out of fire. Like, can't really see their face. So it might be that the Endeavor line and the Mom's line are 2 of the original quirk.
Yeah, they could be.
And then the telekinetic powers, I was going to say we don't really have any people with telekinesis, but then there's Deku's mom who has a bit of it where she can move small objects.
Oh, and his dad can breathe fire as well, can't he? Going along with the fire guy that was there.
Yeah.
Though that was coming out of his arm, not his mouth, but still. So then, yeah, we go into Death Arms. First hero we see. First named hero. I wonder if Death Arms will have more of a role in the future.
That's what I wonder, but I looked it up, and apparently, like, he's just, like, strong, so that's literally just his power. He's not, like, faster or anything.
No.
He's just strong. Oh, and we also get to see All Might for the first time. We saw that he did used to have a cape in his old costume, and the superhero society, there's now 80% of the world population has a power. Oh yeah, okay, so we get the villain rampaging, we meet Death Arms, the punching hero.
We see 2 other non-named kind of weedy heroes that don't really do anything. Then we see Cammy Woods. He comes in and he's so versatile. And then I think he's a very dramatic person. Because he calls the villain the incarnation of evil because of assault, robbery, and the illegal use of powers during rush hour traffic.
Calm yourself, Kamui. Oh, and the other people there, the firefighter guy has a name in like one of the books, or like the side books. Backdraft.
Backdraft, yes.
He's a rescue hero, and he looks kind of creepy because of the white mask.
I liked that straight away Horikoshi was showing the different aspects of heroism. Because we see Death Arms, Cammy Woods, and Mount Lady go in to attack the villain, but then we also see Backdraft rescuing people and setting the perimeter. So straight away he's showing the different sides of heroism. It's not just fighting.
And the anime does some cool stuff with like comic book frames, kind of where it slows down and has some really cool shots of stuff.
Yes.
We learned Kamui Woods is number 7 in the hero ranking, which is pretty high, and he's still kind of new at this point as well. And Deku's doing a lot of otaku commentary. Oh, a fanboy is what they say in the subtitles.
Yeah. And then Mount Lady just jumps in. I found it so much funnier watching it this time around.
She just like interrupts his attack, and everyone's just like shocked. Deku has a really cute like scrunch face, and she just like summons photographers who all take pictures of her butt.
She's so funny.
And it's her debut. She says, "Pleasure to make your ass acquaintance," with a wink.
Doesn't she make another bum joke? And she says like you don't have to worry about this butt anymore.
And then Deku kind of explains that with superpowers came a lot of crime, so some brave people became heroes. And we also learn that the government pays them. I never really realized it was the government. And they gain renown amongst the masses. And we see Mountain Lady smiles, and it's super creepy, and we can tell that she's probably just after the money.
Yeah, the money and the fame.
Yeah, but some later characters in the anime are also the same, and they're good people, so I can't judge Mountain Lady too hard. Yeah. And he's writing in his hero notebook about how he's wondering, with her gigantic powers, she might be popular, but damage to the city. And he wonders whether or not she can control her size. And in the second episode, we learn that she can't. She can only go big or normal sized. And he's muttering to himself. The bystander's kind of weirdo. Oh, you want to be a hero? And Deku's like, oh yeah, I do. I'll do my best. He has a very cute smile. There's a lot of very cute Deku.
I like that bystander. I want to see him in the future as Izuku starts to progress. I want to see him just switch up, just turn and be like, I saw that kid once. He's doing great.
I was his first fan. He had like bone spurs on his head, which are kind of cool.
Yeah, it looks very fishy.
And we get another Star Wars reference with Aldera Junior High is kind of close to Alderaan.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that before.
I'm not sure if that's actually one. I think it is. A teacher asks what they want for their future, and he's, if you guys all just want to be heroes. And I wrote down like all the different quirks that are in the class. There's one person with like Marge Simpson hair.
I wrote down a few, but mostly that teacher is terrible.
Exactly, he has no control over the class. He just ignores Bakugo being, I don't care about these extras. His feet are on the desk. He tells him to shut up. The teacher's like, oh, you want to go to UA, right? National school, 0.2% acceptance rate. And Bakugo jumps on his desk and he's like, I aced the mock test. He'll surpass All Might and become a top hero. First mention of All Might, we saw him earlier, but we didn't know his name. And we see the bottom of his face, big grin.
I like the first thing we really see of Bakugo is his arrogance. That's the main thing that really comes. Even with when he fights the other guy, it's still just his arrogance really is the first trait that really shines through.
Yeah, guy in the room and the most powerful. So he's like, I'm the best.
I'm surprised when he said that he wants to be more popular than All Might and also the richest hero. I wouldn't really think that they were the things that he would care about.
Yeah, that surprised me too. He's like, he talked about top earners, and I was like, is that what you care about, Bakugo? Later on, I guess, he thinks All Might's amazing and he wants to be better than All Might. I don't know if he really cares that much about money, but who knows.
I guess they're all just different ways of showing how good you are.
Yeah. And we learned that Midoriya also wants to go to UA. The whole class laughs at him. Kind of mean. And someone says you can't get into hero department just by studying. And we learned that they got rid of that rule, but there's no precedent. So they got rid of the rule, but then they didn't actually admit anybody who was quirkless.
So I like that Horikoshi's made the main characters, especially Izuku, so intelligent. Because a lot of main shonen protagonists, like Luffy, Naruto, and Goku, they're not very intelligent, other than fighting-wise. They're quite stupid. So the anti-heroes, like the Vegeta and the Sasuke's, they're usually quite intelligent. So it makes sense that Bakugo's clever as well. But I like that Izuku's also intelligent. I just think it's a nice feature.
Yay. And Bakugo then explodes right in front of Deku, blasting him out of his desk, as the teacher says nothing. Bakugo says, you're below rejects, you're quirkless, how can you stay in the same ring as me? And Midoriya tries to say, like, oh, I'm not trying to compete with you. And Bakugo says, like, oh, you're doing this test for fun, and everyone looks kind of scary in the background. And I guess even Bakugo thinking that Midoriya stands a chance of getting in kind of shows that at least he's kind of appreciating Deku, that like he doesn't think he's just going to fail out automatically, but he's still being a massive asshole.
Yeah, we see here as well, but the friend there with the long hair, his young childhood friend is still there, but the young kid that was there before with the dragon wings is gone.
Yep.
So for the future, that might be something to remember. So
yep.
Spoil free. Another thing that I picked up on here is where Izuku is really saying, like, I don't have a quirk, but I can still try my best. I want to achieve my dreams. It reminded me again of Horikoshi, because he had two or three series prior to Hero Academia. They were published but then cancelled quite abruptly. But he still kept on trying.
Mm-hmm.
It was an article, I think it was Scandalated recently though, before they were talking to Horikoshi and they asked him, have you put any of your memories into your manga? And he says that a lot of the times when he's younger and he's playing with his mum, he used to do that with his mum. I think he's really created Izuku kind of in his image, or as someone that he'd like to be.
His self-insert.
I guess parts of him anyway are the things that he'd like.
Yeah. But keep trying. I think it's because I think Oda is very much like Luffy in the confidence area. I don't know. I think I could see it. And now we cut away to the city. We get a girl who can do force fields, which is kind of cool. And there's a sludge villain who just robs a store. He's not robbing a bank or anything. It's pretty small-time robbery. And there's no hero around, so he just books it. And behind him, or kind of somewhere else, we see a skinny man holding groceries.
Very quick scene.
And now we see some people he's taking advantage of the chaos from this morning since the heroes dealt with the other guy, and now they're too busy to deal with him. All Might buffs out saying, there is an end. Why? Because I am here. First see the muscles and smile. After class, Bakugo steals the notebook. We're not done talking. And he blows up the notebook, but he doesn't blow it up very well. It's still very much readable. It just scalds it.
I wondered that. I don't know what this book is made of, because he blasts the book from both sides, and then he throws it out of a window as well, and it lands in water. How is that notebook still usable? What's it made of?
Very sturdy. Maybe Deku's used to Bakugo blowing up his shit, and so he's fireproofed it. Or maybe they're kind of like plastic covers?
Maybe. But what sort of trees do they have in this? Or even plastic. Plastic, when you burn it goes all horrible.
I don't know. Bakugo's holding back. Give us realism in notebooks.
I wish I was as strong as this book.
And we learn that Bakugo wants to shine at being the only student in school to make it into UA. He's a perfectionist, and his friend says he's petty, or he thinks it. And Bakugo puts a hand on his shoulder, and he begins to smoke. And he says, don't apply to UA, nerd. And it's Bakugo can kill people with his quirk. He causes explosions, threatening him, and Deku's terrified.
He's so petty. He's so shallow and arrogant and petty.
And they're like, oh, you're not saying anything back, Deku. And it's yeah, because Bakugo's gonna, blast his face off, or he could, even though, Bakugo probably wouldn't. And then Bakugo says something that he needs to apologize for this, because he says, if you want to be hero so badly, there's a quick and easy way. You'll be reborn with a quirk in your new life, so take a dive off the roof. And it's what the actual hell is
doing
that?
These reviews, I really want to look out for when people start trying to find redeemable features for Bakugo, because I feel like he's got so many fans so quickly. But he really bullied people for a long, long time, and he told someone to kill themselves.
Yeah, that's the part where it's just what?
How? You can't really redeem him from that.
Yeah, no.
Especially not so quickly.
He's kind of evolved into the Horikoshi even went back and said oh, that was a bit bad of him, just too far. But it's kind of but maybe he shouldn't have said it. Because even later on, Bakugo's oh, I can't go harass people at the arcade because if I get seen, it'll go on my record. And it's maybe threatening Deku all the time will also go on your record.
He's so awful, and that school's so bad. He references a few times how bad their school was, but really terrible, terrible little child.
Yeah, and Deku's pissed. And Bakugo's oh, what you gonna do? Exploding, threatening, basically, yeah, he has fire hands. Deku's too scared to do anything. That's fair. And Deku thinks to himself, I'm an idiot. If I jumped, it would be instigating a suicide. He sees his hero notebook in the pond get eaten by fish. He says, stupid fish, not fish food. And the last stupid is directed at himself.
Because next we go to, he's asking his mum to watch that scene, the scene that he likes. He doesn't actually mention All Might's name yet. He just says, oh, it's computer time. And she logs him in. I'm glad she's got it password protected. She's such a good mum. And she's not sure why he likes watching it because it scares her. But this chapter, I know it's Izuku's origins, but it does so well in setting him up, because even the scene of All Might that he admires so much is one of him rescuing people. He doesn't want to see him fighting the villains. He doesn't want to see any of that. He just wants to see him saving people. It's so sweet.
It's All Might's debut. He's already saved 100 people in 10 minutes, and All Might's laugh is good, and it's slightly scary. I guess it's kind of supposed to, because it's supposed to like scare the villains.
He must get a really sore throat doing that fake laugh all the time.
He's like, Oh, and I think we forgot to mention, Deku does the really cute back and forth thing in the chair, because he's really hyped for the video, and that's become like a meme kind of hype train. He goes like, I'm so used to it being super fast that I forgot how slow it was in the anime. And Deku says like, oh, once I get my quirk, I want to be like him. And Deku tries to mimic the laugh, but it sounds like an evil laugh. And we get the doctor saying to give up. He has weird green goggles. Deku's in shock.
For a spoiler free, just guys, try and remember the doctor. He might play a role. He's got very steampunk goggles, like glasses, aren't they?
We learn that Deku is the only kindergartner in his class not to manifest. Mom's 4th generation. She can summon small objects to herself. And we learn the husband can breathe fire. Where is this husband man? He's overseas somewhere.
We know his name, but we don't, and we know his quirk, but we don't know anything else about him.
So there's lots of like fan theories about stuff. And I'm just like, I hope he's just like a normal dude. I hope it's not anybody important.
I don't know if he'll even be mentioned, because like Luffy's mum hasn't been mentioned, and Oda said like, I might bring her in, I might not, but he might just not get mentioned. But he has to at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, he could show up at the graduation or something if that ever happened.
Yeah, I'm back from oil mining. Well done, son.
Random guy clapping.
Exactly.
Everyone will be like, at his graduation, is this? We ship Inko with All Might now. Screw off.
Oh, so much.
Yes. We learn that the pinky toe, if it's missing a joint, it's a sign they have a quirk. And that's like, is there like some kind of eldritch god out there eating pinky toes and giving powers? I guess it's like it's evolution or something, but it's also like, what?
That's the weirdest thing. I mean, it doesn't make sense on why, because we can't really bend our little toe anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just such a strange link.
And I guess it's like, so now whenever it shows Deku's feet, and he wears like red shoes too, so it even like highlights his feet a bit, it's kind of focusing on like, he's quirkless, and he's like, it adds meaning to a shot a bit every time.
Yeah. I guess it shows that they're more evolved, because they don't have this joint that we don't really need, but it's just so strange.
I know. And now Deku's watching the video in the dark, crying. He says, Mom, he saved everybody with a smile. He's such a cool hero. And the mom's crying. He's like, can I be a hero too? And his mom just apologizes. And Deku thinks, no, Mom, I want you to say. And we cut away. He's staring at his feet. He's entering a tunnel.
What would you have said?
Oh, I don't know. I would be like, don't worry, son. You can be Batman.
I would have said the same thing as the mum.
Yeah. Because there's nothing you can do.
I think I would have said the exact same thing, because you wouldn't ever imagine that what happens to him happens. I would have been like, oh, better tell him now. Then he keeps on sort of going along this like semi-deluded path and just gets really disappointed. Better tell him now, and then he can set his hopes and dreams on something that he can do really well at. I think I would have said the same thing.
I think she did the right thing, because it's not like lying to him or giving him false hope. But it's not what he wanted in his heart. And Deku's walking along, and he's practicing the All Might laugh again, which still sounds like an evil laugh. And the sludge monster attacks. And they're like, oh, a medium-sized invisibility cloak? And Sludge starts to go into him, and he's like, don't worry, it'll only take 45 seconds before you die. And they say, the villain says the creepiest line, says, thanks for your help, you're my hero.
In the dubbed version, he doesn't say that he'll die. He'll say that, you'll feel fine in a little bit.
Oh.
I don't think he says die.
I think Deku realizes that he's going to die. And I think the sludge villain's just like, oh, just don't worry, just taking over your body, only hurt for 45 seconds. I took it as dying, but it might be that, I don't know.
When All Might turns up and attacks the villain, I know that All Might's amazing, but to hit the sludge villain that hard and not hurt Izuku, that's such good control and aim. When we know he's so powerful.
And he says, it's all right now, young man, for I am a hero. And we get heroic music. And he just does the wind pressure punches are just like the coolest thing. And he sees All Might and faints.
He faints and he says, is it All Might? That's, though we heard Bakugo say his name earlier, this is the first time we know who he is, because we've seen his silhouette. We've heard Bakugo say All Might, but this is the first time we realise who he is and that that's actually All Might. And I like that the first time we figure it out is from Izuku. I thought that was a nice touch.
And I love the scene of All Might trying to slap him awake. He's like, ugh.
Yeah, and then when he wakes up, he says, "Oh, sorry, I didn't want to get you caught up in my justicing." Not a word.
And he says, like, you're a big help. And I captured the villain in his pop bottle. And then, like, there's blue and red colors. I really want to know, is All Might American? Or he's, like, an American fan? Like, is he half American? I want to know the truth.
I think Horikoshi based him on typical American heroes.
And we learn that All Might already signed his notebook because All Might is a pro. He says, I know what I'm doing. And he goes to leave. He's like, bye. And Deku's like, no, not yet.
Just clings onto him.
Yeah, I just love All Might, like, stretching before he goes. He's like, pros are fighting crime in time. And he's like, wait, I want to ask so much stuff. He jumps off, and Deku grabbed onto his arm. And All Might tries to push him away in midair because he forgets that normal people can't fall from such heights. And I just love Deku's, like, distorted face. And I was okay, fine, just, like, close your mouth and eyes and I'll, like, land you somewhere. When he lands, All Might coughs up a little bit of blood and he says, shit. And he tells him, okay, ask you a blow to let you out. And I'm just gonna leave. Deku's like, wait. All Might, no. Instrumental music. Deku's being very dramatic. He's wondering, like, can I be a hero? Can I not? So he asks, if I don't have a quirk, can I become a hero? Can someone without a quirk be like you? And the miraculous meeting changes fate, but we don't hear All Might's answer.
I love that they ended it without hearing his answer. That's such a good way of ending the episode on that, like, that query high note.
Especially because it's, like, splitting such a long chapter that doesn't really have, like, a natural split. It's like, okay, that's a good, like, kind of cliffhanger.
Yeah, I think they've done the series of events really well, because the anime has changed how the series of events roll, but I think the way that they've done it's much more organic. It flows really well.